The crash and the secret captain. Ryan Hale never thought his simple mission would end like this. He was a human explorer, flying alone through the border of uncharted space. His ship, the Horizon Star, was hit by a strange storm that came out of nowhere. Lightning ripped across the black sky, and his engines burst into flames before he could react. The control panel exploded in sparks, and the ship spiraled down toward a green, unknown planet. The crash was violent, metal twisting and fire spreading as Ryan struggled to stay alive. When he woke up, the world was silent, except for the whisper of wind through tall blue plants. His head hurt and his suit was torn, but he was breathing. The sky above him had two suns, both shining with a strange, soft glow. He realized this was not any known colony world. It was something new, something untouched. Then he heard footsteps, soft but steady, surrounding him. When Ryan lifted his head, he froze. A group of tall alien women stood before him, their skin shimmering like moonlight, their eyes golden and bright. Each one carried a long spear made of glowing crystal. They didn't speak at first, they only watched him, whispering to each other in a language that sounded like music and thunder mixed together. Ryan raised his hand slowly, trying to show he meant no harm. One of the women stepped closer. She was taller than the rest, her hair silver and braided, her face both fierce and beautiful. She said something he couldn't understand, then pointed at his chest. Ryan touched his translator device, praying it still worked. When he spoke, the words came out broken. "Peace. I mean no harm." The leader frowned but gave a short command. Two women grabbed his arms gently, not cruelly, and led him away through the glowing forest. Everything around him looked alive. The trees pulsed with light, and small creatures floated like fireflies. They brought him to a village made of smooth white stone and crystal. There were more of them there, all women, all staring at him with wide, curious eyes. Ryan was placed inside a large tent where the air smelled sweet and heavy. The leader returned, sitting across from him. Her voice was calm now, and with the help of his translator, he finally caught her name, Chief Alara. She looked at him for a long moment, then said quietly, "Human, you came from the stars, but you should not be here," Ryan asked, confused. "Why?" "I just need to repair my ship and call for rescue." The chief leaned closer, her golden eyes glowing brighter. "Our prophecies spoke of one like you," she whispered. "A man of fire and blood who brings life and change," Ryan laughed nervously, thinking it was a misunderstanding, but her expression didn't change, and the others in the tent bowed their heads in silence. He realized they truly believed it. That night, Ryan couldn't sleep. The alien village was quiet except for the soft hum of the wind. Through the tent's opening, he saw the twin moons rise and cast blue light over the land. He felt like the whole planet was breathing around him. Then he noticed a shadow moving near his tent. A young alien woman stepped inside. Holding a bowl of glowing fruit, her skin shimmered softly, and her eyes were full of curiosity and something else, something warmer. She spoke shyly. "Eat, human. You need strength." Ryan thanked her, but before he could ask her name, she gently took his hand and placed it over her heart. A strange pulse ran between them, making his skin tingle. The girl whispered one sentence before leaving, her voice trembling but certain. "You will change our destiny, human." Ryan sat there frozen, his heart beating fast. He didn't know what she meant, but deep inside, something told him this planet was not going to let him leave so easily. The forbidden contact. When morning came, the suns rose together, bathing the alien village in golden blue light. Captain Ryan Hale opened his eyes slowly, feeling both weak and heavy. His body still ached from the crash. But something else felt different. It was as if the air itself was alive, warm, soft, and quietly watching him. He stepped outside the tent and saw dozens of alien women working together, singing softly as they built fires and shaped glowing stones. Chief Alara was speaking with her guards, her voice firm and commanding. When she saw Ryan, she walked toward him with calm grace. "You must stay inside the village," she said through the translator. "The outer lands are forbidden to strangers," Ryan frowned, confused. "I just need to reach my ship. It's not far. I can fix it." But Alara's eyes turned cold. "No, human, the forest beyond is sacred. You will not survive." Her tone left no room for argument. Ryan returned to his tent, frustration growing inside him. He felt like a prisoner, surrounded by beauty but trapped by invisible rules. The memory of the young woman from last night stayed in his mind. her gentle eyes, her trembling voice. He wanted to thank her, to understand why she had touched his hand with such emotion. As the twin suns began to set, Ryan heard a soft sound outside. Footsteps again. When he turned, she was there, the same girl, holding a bowl of glowing fruit like before. Her name, she said quietly, was Lyra. Her voice was musical and calm, and her movements were graceful like wind. She sat beside him and began to teach him her language, pointing to things and repeating their names until he smiled. Ryan tried to ask her why the chief didn't want him near the ship. Lyra looked away for a moment, her eyes dark with worry. "Our people fear the sky machines," she said softly. Long ago they brought death, not life. He didn't fully understand, but he could see the pain in her eyes. She wanted to trust him, but something deep inside her told her she shouldn't. Over the next few days, Lyra visited him every night. They laughed softly as he tried to speak her words and she tried to say his. Each night they grew a little closer. Ryan began to notice something strange. The plants around his tent seemed to glow brighter whenever she was near him. And once, when he cut his hand on a sharp stone, she touched it gently, and the wound healed within seconds. It scared him and amazed him at the same time. He realized this world was more connected to life than any human planet he had seen. Everything pulsed with unseen energy, light, sound, even emotion. But what he didn't know was that the same energy was changing him. Slowly and silently, and the aliens could feel it one night, Chief Alara entered the tent without warning. Her eyes were sharp and full of warning as she looked between Ryan and Lyra. "You must not touch him again," she said to Lyra in their tongue. But Ryan's translator caught enough to understand. Lyra's face turned pale. "But he needs help," she whispered. Alara's voice grew colder. "Help will turn to chaos. His kind brings power that breaks the balance." Ryan stood up, angry now. "What balance?" "I'm just trying to survive." The chief stared at him for a long moment, then said, "You are not here by accident, human. The stars sent you for a reason we do not yet understand." She turned to leave, but her final words chilled him. "Do not make her love you, for if she does, it will destroy us all." When she was gone, silence filled the tent. Lyra's hands trembled as she looked at him. Tears shining in her golden eyes, Ryan wanted to comfort her, but the warning echoed in his head like thunder. Outside, the twin moons rose again, and the forest began to glow in waves of silver light. He looked out at the alien world and whispered to himself, "What are you hiding from me?" In the distance, something shimmered among the trees. A pulse of energy, alive, waiting and watching him. The night air felt heavier now, and deep inside, Ryan knew one thing for sure. Whatever this planet was, it wasn't finished with him yet. The night of awakening days passed, but Ryan Hale could not forget Chief Alara's warning. "Do not make her love you." Those words echoed in his head every time Lyra smiled. He tried to keep his distance, but something kept drawing them together. Whenever Lyra was near, the air around them seemed to shimmer. It was as if the planet itself wanted them close. One evening, heavy clouds gathered over the twin suns. The sky darkened to violet and gold, and a strange humming filled the air. The ground began to tremble lightly, the trees pulsing with waves of blue light. Lyra ran to Ryan's tent, her face pale with fear. "The storm of renewal," she whispered. "It comes once in 1,000 cycles." Ryan looked outside and saw the entire horizon glowing. Bolts of light were striking the distant mountains. Not fire, but pure energy. Every creature in the forest hid underground, and the aliens knelt, chanting in soft rhythm. Ryan didn't understand, but his heart began to race as if something deep inside him was responding. Lyra clutched his arm, her hand shaking. "Stay close, human. The storm chooses who lives and who fades." The first wave hit. A flash of light so bright it blinded him. He fell to his knees as his skin tingled with power. The air was thick, heavy, almost alive. Lyra cried out beside him and collapsed, the crystal necklace around her neck cracking open and releasing a stream of blue mist. Ryan acted on instinct, catching her before she fell. As his hand touched her skin, energy surged through both of them. The storm roared louder and the world seemed to stop. For one heartbeat, everything turned white. Ryan felt something enter his body, something not human, a pulse of pure life. He screamed, holding Lyra tighter, and then everything went silent. When he opened his eyes again, the world was calm, the air sparkled faintly, and Lyra was breathing slowly in his arms. Her skin glowed faintly, the color of starlight. Ryan looked at his own hands in shock. They were glowing too. faint blue lines tracing along his veins. He felt stronger, lighter, and strangely connected to everything around him. He heard whispers in his head, soft voices, not human. They spoke in a language of emotion rather than words. He understood only one meaning: the bond has begun. Lyra opened her eyes, her golden gaze filled with confusion and wonder. "Ryan," she whispered, "what have we done?" When morning came, the entire village gathered around them. The alien women stared in silence as Ryan helped Lyra walk forward. Chief Alara approached slowly, her face unreadable. She touched Lyra's arm gently, then turned to Ryan. "It has happened," she said quietly. "You have given life to the sleeping world." Ryan blinked. Not understanding, "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice unsteady. Alara looked at Lyra's trembling hands and spoke words that made everyone gasp. "The storm accepted the human seed. The ancient bond of creation has returned." Ryan felt his chest tighten as Lyra suddenly clutched her stomach in shock. Tears welled in her eyes, her hands shaking over her belly. "I feel something inside," she whispered. "It's growing." The crowd fell silent, some kneeling, others whispering words of awe and fear. Alara turned away, her voice breaking. The prophecy was true. The stars sent a man to awaken the mothers. Ryan stood frozen, unable to move, his heart pounding. Lyra looked up at him, eyes full of both love and terror. "What happens now?" she asked softly. Ryan had no answer, only the heavy silence of destiny between them. Above them, the storm clouds parted, revealing both suns shining brighter than ever. And in that strange light, Ryan realized the truth. He was no longer just a visitor. He had become part of this world. The human they can't let go days turned into weeks, and the story of Ryan Hale spread through the alien village like fire in dry grass. Everywhere he walked, eyes followed him with awe and fear. Some called him the Starfather. Others whispered that he was a curse from the heavens. Ryan didn't understand how one night could change everything. He only knew that Lyra was no longer the same. And neither was he. Lyra's skin now glowed softly, her heartbeat matching the hum of the planet. Sometimes when she touched the ground, tiny flowers grew in her footsteps. The tribe saw this as a sign. The child inside her was powerful. Chief Alara began building a sacred circle of crystal around Lyra's tent. Ryan tried to help, but the elders pushed him away, whispering, "The father must not disturb the balance." Ryan felt trapped again, just like after his crash. He wanted to go home, to Earth, to his people. But when he looked at Lyra, her gentle smile and glowing eyes made him hesitate. She would place his hand on her stomach and whisper, "He moves when you are near." And in that moment, Ryan forgot everything, his duty, his world, his mission. One night, as he sat outside looking at the twin moons, the faint light of a distress beacon blinked on his wrist console. His ship's emergency signal had finally powered up. Ryan's heart raced. It meant rescue was possible. He could send a message to the fleet and they would come. But a quiet voice in his mind whispered, "If they come, they'll take you away." He stared at the glowing forest and thought of Lyra, how she had risked everything for him, how she now carried a life that connected their worlds. He pressed the console, hesitating. The signal began transmitting into space, a single word pulsing out: "Survivor." The next morning, Chief Alara entered his tent, her expression calm but her eyes sharp. "You called your kind," she said quietly. Ryan froze. "How do you know?" Alara looked up at the bright sky. The stars spoke human. "Your message has been heard." Her voice trembled slightly as she added, "They will come, and when they do, they will not understand what you have done." Ryan stood, angry but afraid. "I didn't do anything wrong." Alara's tone softened. "No, but they will see it as wrong. They will see us as creatures to study, not people to love." Her words cut deep, and Ryan realized the truth in them. If humans arrived and saw a pregnant alien carrying his child, they would panic. They would see it as unnatural, dangerous, even monstrous. That night, Lyra came to him, tears shining in her golden eyes. "You're leaving, aren't you?" she asked quietly. Ryan wanted to lie, to say no, but he couldn't. "I sent the signal," he admitted. "They'll come for me soon." Lyra nodded slowly, placing his hand on her belly once more. "Then I will stay and protect what we created." He pulled her close, feeling the warmth of her body and the rhythm of her heartbeat. For a long time they stood in silence, listening to the night wind move through the glowing trees. Finally, Lyra whispered, "Our child is not only ours, Ryan. He belongs to both worlds, Ryan closed his eyes, wishing he could believe the universe would understand. The next morning, the sky shimmered with light, metallic ships descending from the clouds. The humans had come. The alien tribe gathered with their crystal spears raised, their faces hard with fear and pride. Ryan stepped forward, standing between both sides, and in that moment, he knew no matter what happened next, this world would never let him go. The battle between worlds. The sky burned with light as human ships broke through the clouds, their engines roaring like thunder. The alien tribe looked up in silence, fear and anger mixing in their golden eyes. Ryan Hale stood in the center of the village, feeling the weight of two worlds on his shoulders. He had wanted rescue, but now it felt like an invasion. Lyra stood beside him, her hands on her growing stomach, her body glowing faintly with the energy of life. Chief Alara raised her crystal staff high, her voice echoing across the valley. "The Sky Men come to take what is not theirs," she shouted. "They will not harm the Mother of Renewal." The tribe answered her with a deep, rhythmic chant, the ground pulsing with light beneath their feet. Ryan wanted to calm them, to explain, but his voice was lost under the rising sound of fear. He knew his people, they wouldn't understand. They would see the aliens as a threat. Minutes later, the human landing craft touched down on the open field. Metal doors opened and soldiers in white armor marched out, weapons glowing. The lead officer, Commander Reeves, stepped forward, his eyes scanning the strange village. When he saw Ryan, he exhaled sharply. "Captain Hale, by the stars. We thought you were dead." Ryan nodded slowly. "I'm alive, Commander, but things are complicated." Reeves looked at the alien women, at the glowing crystals, at Lyra standing close to Ryan. His face hardened. "Complicated? You're surrounded by hostiles." Ryan shook his head quickly. "They're not hostiles. They saved me. They're intelligent, peaceful." Reeves frowned, lowering his voice. "Then why are they armed? And what's wrong with her?" Ryan's chest tightened. He didn't answer. But the commander's sharp eyes already noticed Lyra's round belly. Reeves took a step closer, his voice cold. "Tell me that's not what it looks like." Ryan's silence was enough. The commander's jaw clenched, and he spoke into his comm. "Science Division. Prep for containment." The alien warriors moved instantly, surrounding Lyra, their crystal spears humming with blue light. The energy in the air grew thick, buzzing like static before a storm. Chief Alara pointed her staff toward the humans. "Leave our world," she commanded. Reeves ignored her, gesturing to his troops. "Stand down, we are here under galactic command." But the aliens didn't understand his words. They only saw his soldiers raise their weapons. Ryan stepped forward, shouting, "Stop! No one fire!" But his voice drowned beneath the rising hum of the spears and the whine of human rifles charging. A single spark flashed. No one knew who fired first. In an instant, chaos exploded across the field. Blue energy bolts met burning plasma. The ground shook and the air turned to fire. Ryan ran toward Lyra, shielding her as debris rained down. He could hear her crying. "They will destroy everything." "Ryan!" He grabbed her shoulders, shouting over the noise. "Stay back!" "I'll stop this." He turned toward Reeves, screaming, "Cease fire. These are not enemies." But Reeves only shouted back, "They've taken control of you, Captain." "You're not thinking clearly." Ryan's heart pounded with rage. He tore off his badge and threw it to the ground. "Then I'm not your soldier anymore," he yelled. Chief Alara raised her hands, calling out to the skies in her ancient tongue. The crystal towers around the village began to glow and hum. A shockwave of light burst outward, knocking everyone to the ground. The battlefield went silent except for the echoing hum of alien power. Ryan helped Lyra stand, his eyes meeting Reeves's across the smoke and dust. Both men knew the war wasn't between armies. It was between understanding and fear. And as the light faded, Ryan whispered to himself, "If peace means standing against my own kind, then so be it." The humans retreated to their ships, regrouping for another attack. But Ryan knew something had changed forever. Because now both sides were ready to fight for him, the man neither world could let go. The sacrifice smoke hung heavy in the air after the battle. The ground was scarred with burning craters, and the glowing trees had turned dark. Ryan Hale stood in the middle of the wreckage, his uniform torn, his hands shaking. Human soldiers were pulling back to their ships, and the alien warriors were tending to their wounded. The world had gone quiet, but the silence was not peace. It was the breath before something worse. Lyra sat near the sacred circle, her face pale but her eyes glowing faintly with blue light. Ryan knelt beside her, taking her trembling hand. "They'll come again," she whispered. "Your people won't stop until they take you." Ryan looked toward the sky where the ships hovered like metal vultures. "I won't let them hurt you," he said softly. His voice steady but filled with fear. Chief Alara approached. Her staff cracked and dim from the fight. She looked at Ryan for a long moment, her voice low and heavy. "The humans will not stop. They will destroy what they cannot control." Ryan nodded slowly. "Then I have to end this before more people die." Alara's golden eyes softened. "You would sacrifice yourself for us?" He didn't answer right away. He looked at Lyra, her hand resting on her stomach. Feeling the faint life moving within, he thought of the stars of Earth, of the fleet that once called him a hero. Now they saw him as a traitor, a man who had broken every boundary between worlds. And yet when he looked at Lyra, he knew this was where he belonged. That night under the twin moons, Ryan made his decision. He walked to the wreckage of his old ship, the Horizon Star half buried in glowing soil. He pulled open a scorched panel and began to work, wires sparking under his trembling fingers. Hours passed as he rewired the beacon, changing its frequency. Instead of sending his location, it would now send a false warning, a lie powerful enough to save them. When morning came, the beacon pulsed to life. Ryan stood before the tribe, his voice firm but gentle. "When my people return, they'll hear that this planet is unstable, deadly to human life." Alara's expression softened. "They will stay away." Ryan nodded. "Long enough for you to live in peace?" Lyra stepped forward, tears shining in her golden eyes. "You'll go back with them?" she asked, her voice trembling. Ryan hesitated. "If I stay, they'll come again. They'll never stop searching." Lyra gripped his hand tightly, her voice breaking. "Then take me with you." He shook his head slowly. "They would lock you away, study you. I can't let that happen." She leaned into him, her forehead against his chest. "You are part of us now," she whispered. "The bond cannot break." He held her close, feeling her heartbeat match his own. Then he gently pulled away, pressing his hand against her glowing stomach. "Protect him," he said softly. "Tell him I did this for both of you." Before the sun rose, Ryan walked toward the human camp, his hands raised. The soldiers aimed their weapons, but Commander Reeves ordered them to hold fire. Ryan stood tall even as exhaustion pulled at his body. "I'll return with you," he said quietly. "But the planet stays untouched. No research, no weapons." Reeves stared at him, confused. "Why should I listen to you?" Ryan smiled faintly. "Because if you try, the world itself will stop you." As he spoke, the ground beneath them began to glow again, faint blue veins spreading like rivers of light. Reeves looked down, uneasy, realizing the planet was alive and aware. He finally nodded. "Understood, Captain." Ryan glanced back one last time, seeing Lyra standing at the edge of the forest, her eyes full of tears and love. The ship's doors closed behind him, and the engines began to roar through the window. He saw the planet growing smaller, glowing softly like a heartbeat in the darkness. He placed his hand on the glass and whispered, "Goodbye, my world." And though he left the planet, part of him stayed behind forever, because sometimes true love is not holding on, it's knowing when to let go. The return of the father years passed since Captain Ryan Hale left the alien world behind. The galaxy had moved on, his name remembered only in quiet reports and classified files. The official story said he died in duty, a hero lost to an unstable planet, but Ryan was alive, serving far from the front lines, quiet, forgotten. Yet every night, when the stars came out, he felt a soft pulse in his chest, a faint blue glow under his skin. He never spoke of it to anyone. Sometimes he dreamed of Lyra standing beneath twin moons, calling his name through the wind. In his dreams he saw a child's face, half human, half alien, with bright golden eyes. He would wake up trembling, whispering her name into the darkness deep down. He knew their bond was not broken. It was only waiting. One evening, while inspecting a remote listening post, Ryan saw something strange on the scanner. A faint transmission coming from deep space. A signal repeating over and over. He frowned, adjusting the frequency. His heart pounding, the message was simple. Made of light pulses and tones, it formed one word, glowing softly on the screen. "Come." Ryan stared at it for a long time, his chest tightening. It was the same signal pattern his beacon once used, the one he had modified to protect the planet. No human system could have sent it, only them. The alien world was calling him back after all these years. He closed his eyes and smiled faintly, whispering, "They're alive." Without telling anyone, he prepared a small shuttle. He left a note in his quarters, just 2 words, "Gone home." As his ship broke free from orbit, he felt the same strange energy inside him awaken again. The stars stretched around him, and the blue light in his veins pulsed brighter with every mile. It was like his body remembered the way. Guiding him through the void days later, the shuttle emerged near a familiar system. There it was, the twin suns shining over the glowing blue planet. Alive and beautiful, Ryan's breath caught in his throat. "You've changed," he whispered. The forests below sparkled like living light, the oceans glowing with soft energy, and at the heart of it all stood a towering structure of crystal, reaching toward the sky. He landed near the same valley where he had first crashed years ago. The air was warm, alive, and filled with the same strange hum as he stepped out. Shapes appeared between the glowing trees, tall figures with golden eyes. The alien tribe had grown stronger, brighter, their energy calm and welcoming, and among them a young man stepped forward, his skin glowing faintly blue, his eyes a mirror of Ryan's. Ryan froze, his voice breaking. "It can't be." The boy smiled. "My name is Arian," he said softly. "Mother told me you would return when the stars called." Ryan felt his heart stop for a moment, tears filling his eyes. He looked beyond the boy and saw her, Lyra, still radiant, still beautiful, her hair silver as moonlight. She walked toward him slowly, her smile trembling. "You kept your promise." "Ryan," he reached out to touch her hand. And when their fingers met, the world seemed to glow brighter. The ground pulsed with light, the air shimmered, and the forest began to sing with life. Lyra looked into his eyes and whispered, "Our child has built peace between both worlds. The humans listen now. They come not to take, but to learn." Ryan felt pride swell inside him. Mixed with disbelief and love, he looked at his son, at Lyra, at the planet he had once saved, and whispered, "Maybe this is what I was meant to do." As the suns began to set, their golden light spilled across the valley. The tribe gathered around them, chanting softly, their voices echoing across the glowing hills. Ryan stood tall among them, no longer just a visitor, no longer lost between worlds. He was part of both, the man of stars and the father of a new beginning. And as the night fell, his heart whispered the truth the universe already knew. Some bonds are eternal no matter how far the stars may drift.